Hi, my name is Mimi Scheller, and I want to tell you about my chapter, Mobile Commoning, Subversive Mobilities, and Wayward Undercommons. The proposition of this chapter is that commons are not things, but social relations, relations of cooperation and solidarity. And these commons are not givens, but processes. These are two key points made by political theorists and activists, George Cafensis and Silvia Federici. What if the commons is not just a shared territory or a common pool resource, but a way of moving together in the world? Mobility itself is a commons, and commoning is mobile. So where then do mobile commons and commoning come from? I contrast what Anit Singh calls the modular simplification of the monoculture plantation to the counter-plantation plots of the enslaved and the practices of marronage, both large and small. Caribbean theorists, following Jean Casimir and Sylvia Wynter and others, describe the intercropped provision grounds, kitchen gardens, family land, shared yards, and maroon territories of anti-slavery and anti-colonial resistance that sprung up in the interstices and the backlands on the plantation fringes. Locations like the interior mountains of Jamaica and Haiti, or the Great Dismal Swamp of the U.S. South, or the interior wetlands of Suriname, were key sites of refuge for maroon communities, marking fluid and feral proliferations on the edges of the monocrop plantation world. And these undercommons were as much centered in women's everyday practices of petite marronage and illicit mobilities, growing food, moving through islands, and circulating in the world. Additionally, I draw on the work of historians Peter Linebaugh and Marcus Rediker, who describe how in the midst of slavery, dislocation, piracy, exploitation, and incarceration, there also took shape a mobile world, a world of sailors, pilots, felons, lovers, translators, musicians, and mobile workers of all kinds who made new and unexpected connections. So against the managed mobilities of the colony, there were always subversive mobilities emerging everywhere. The colony, and we could add the contemporary city, is full of transgressions, escapes, flight, detention, suspicion, illicit border crossings, entrapment, and surveillance. The final section of the chapter extends these concepts to the queer commons and the fugitive undercommons of those whom Saidiya Hartman describes as wayward. So let me end with a quote from her Wayward Lives, Beautiful Experiments. She writes, "Wayward, related to the family of words, errant, fugitive, recalcitrant, anarchic, willful, reckless, troublesome, riotous, tumultuous, rebellious, and wild. The avid longing for a world not ruled by master man or the police. The errant path taken by the leaderless swarm in search of a place better than here, the social poesis that sustains the dispossessed. Wayward, the unregulated movement of drifting and wandering, sojourns without a fixed destination, ambulatory possibility, interminable migrations, rush and flight, black locomotion, the everyday struggle to live free, the attempt to elude capture by never settling, not the master's tools, but the ex-slave's fugitive gestures, her traveling shoes. Waywardness articulates the paradox of cramped creation, the entanglement of escape and confinement, flight and captivity. Wayward, to wander, to be unmoored, adrift, rambling, roving, cruising, strolling, and seeking, to claim the right to opacity." So, ending my quote of Saidiya Hartman, I just want to say that following these lines of decolonial thought, I trace in this chapter how the idea of mobile commoning suggests an architecture of provisional form, of informal provisioning, and of fugitive improvisation.